Okay, so there's how I got my answer for the cosine of 45 plus 30, which would be the cosine of 75. So hopefully you got that answer correct. So now let's take a look at our next problem. So our next problem is asking us if theta is between 0 and pi over 2, and the cosine of theta is 3/5. We are supposed to compute the cosine of theta minus pi over 6. So this one's a little bit more difficult. But we do know that since this is here, we know that that's in the first quadrant. Okay, and so I know my cosine is going to be here. I know cosine, there's my theta. So it says that it's cosine, so that's adjacent over hypotenuse. So that's 5. Adjacent's 3, so that's 4. Because it's a Pythagorean triple. If you didn't know that, 3 squared plus y squared equals 5 squared. 9 plus y squared equals 25. So y squared equals 16. Since it's in the first quadrant, y is going to be positive 4. Okay? So that tells me that my sine of theta is 4/5. So I got everything I need. So I can find the cosine of alpha minus beta, or a minus b, which is going to be cosine A, cosine B, plus sine A, sine B. So the cosine of A is theta, and B is pi over 6. So I have the cosine of theta, cosine of pi over 6, plus the sine of theta times the sine of pi over 6. So the cosine of theta is 3/5. The cosine of pi over 6 is the square root of 3 over 2. Plus the sine of theta is 4/5. And the sine of pi over 6 is 1/2. So I have 3 square roots of 3 divided by 10 plus 4 divided by 10. So that would give me 3 square roots of 3 plus 4 divided by 10. I'm not going to have you try the next one. I'm just going to work it for you. This time it's telling us that it is in the third quadrant. So if it's in the third quadrant, our sign should be negative. So let's go ahead and make that change right now. So we're in the third quadrant, and our sign is negative. So that would be negative 28 hundredths. So if I divided that by 4, that would be negative 7/25. So my y value is negative 7, my hypotenuse is 25, and so I have negative 7 squared plus x squared equals 25 squared. So 49 plus x squared equals 625. So we subtract, I don't know why that happened. So we subtract 49 from both sides, so x squared equals 576. And then when we take the square root, it could be plus or minus 24. Since we're in the third quadrant, our x is negative, so we've got a negative 24. Okay, so that means that our sine of theta is negative 7/25, and our cosine of theta is negative 24/25. And we're doing the cosine of A plus B. So that's cosine of A plus B is cosine A, cosine B, minus the sine of A, sine of B. So I'm going to have the cosine of theta times the cosine of pi over 4 minus the sine of theta divided by the sine of pi over, times the sine of pi over 4. Cosine of theta was negative 24/25. The cosine of pi over 4 is the square root of 2 over 2, minus the sine of theta, which is negative 7/25, times the sine of pi over 4, which is the square root of 2 over 2. So we have negative 24 square roots of 2 divided by 50 minus a negative 7 square roots of 2 divided by 50. Minus minus means plus, so we have negative 24 square roots of 2 plus 7 square roots of 2 divided by 50. And we can add those together because they're both square roots of 2, so negative 24 plus 7 would be a negative 17 square roots of 2 divided by 50. Okay? So basically your homework is just going to be practicing this. But before you do, I'm going to ask you to try these 4.